Welcome to the Retro Blood.
Can you believe this? It's Christmas Eve, and we got orders to bring in Santa Claus.
Cindy, if you don't go back to bed, Santa won't come.
He's not the only one.
What you might get up to? All those kitties sitting on your knee all day?
I'd love to have you sitting on my knee.
Christmas carolers. I hate Christmas carolers. Those screeching boys, little blue sniffers. I warned you, Brad!
Mommy, you shouldn't have said that. It's naughty to say bad things about old people. Santa Claus will punish you.
Carpet Day! No!
Don't! It's gonna hurt our kids. We're not even sure it's him.
Not sure my ass. Look at the fur on that suit.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Retro Blood as we celebrate this holiday season, talking all about 1980s holiday horror movies. Up next, it is going to be a little bit of a stretch, but if you like long walks on staircases at night, if you like killers who have a strange backstory because people thought he was too funny, if you have some dumb cops, brother, this is the review for you, because the Retro Blood is talking all about The Dorm That Dripped Blood. J. Alison, James Kline. What's happening, Alison? I'm pretty sure we had to be the first podcast in history talking a full review about The Dorm That Dripped Blood. Am I correct?
You think so?
Maybe.
I don't know. I didn't research that, but I'd be surprised.
Bro,
I would be surprised if we're the only people that ever did this.
This one was a little tough. Okay.
Really? I kind of like this movie.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it had its faults, but I mean, it had a lot of faults. Let's put it that way. We'll talk about the cops at the end. You're talking about the cops at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and then
yeah. Like I don't think you can blame the cops in this situation. Like
that's true.
The situation that they're in.
That's true. Our boy, if only our boy Buddy Lee, if he would have listened, all this shit would have, it wouldn't have went down the way it went down.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
but then we wouldn't have had a movie.
Yeah, it's true. So, well, we wouldn't have had an ending, like a swerve.
Well, true. Right.
So, like this one, okay. So, like I was saying last week, it's going to be a little bit of a stretch. So technically, this is not a holiday horror movie. You know what I mean? Like it
takes place over Christmas break.
Yeah, there you go. See, yes, exactly. It takes place over Christmas break. That's why we're counting it. But it is going to be very, you pick and choose going forward. Or we might have to switch up the format next year because I think we're about low on the actual Christmas horror movies that happen around this time. So yeah, but this one is pretty interesting. So, but yeah, like this one should be pretty interesting. So you can tell that this movie was inspired by Friday the 13th, Halloween, prom night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this one is like, obviously it was inspired by all that, and I guess like. We've talked about this, this era before, but when Friday the 13th came out, I mean, there was a shit ton of movies that were like copying it, you know what I mean? Because it was such a big hit and it was made for such a low amount of money. So a lot of people were jumping on that to get their shit made and get their name out there. And I'm pretty sure this is one of them that did this one.
Yeah. I mean, this was basically, I may need to look this back up. Wasn't this basically like a student movie?
Yeah. It was kind of because it was filmed on like handheld camera, and they actually had to, when they edited it, they switch it over to the was it 35 millimeter or something. So yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, I believe it was shot on 16 millimeter.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, then they had to redo it,
blow it up to 35, which is why it looked so dark and like the resolution looks kind of like it looks real grainy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like the people that wrote and directed this, Stephen Carpenter, Jeffrey Obrow, or however you say his name, they actually went on to make some really good movies.
Oh, interesting.
In the 80s. Yeah, that we'll probably talk about. Like they made The Power and The Kindred, which are both really good movies.
Yeah. There's a lot to talk about when we get to the history segment of who booked this shit with the big amount of titles that this movie was under. It's another thing to talk about. But like every Retro Blood, I say let's get into the history segment. But Alison, before we do that, because I'm feeling a little parched over here, how about we do our holiday tradition of popping open that beer, brother?
Let's do it right now.
Pop mine open. Yeah, Betty.
I'm gonna struggle bus with the beer popping. All right.
Oh yeah.
There we go.
So the can always has like the best sound. You know what I mean? The bottle, to me, the bottles taste the best, but there's no like bottle sound. You know.
Just a psst,
just a little piss.
Open, yeah.
So how about you go first? What are we drinking over there, Allison?
So apparently I'm following you because last week I'd followed you with the Cold Mountain, and this week I'm following you with Ninja Bread Man because you had it last year. This is a Ninja Bread Man that I had left over from last year. This one ages a lot better than the Cold Mountain did. It still tastes just as good as the day that I bought it.
Nice.
So it's great. I love Ninja Bread Man. It's like we talked about it last week, but it just has the perfect for a sweet candy, what I would call a candy bar beer. Yeah. It has like it has just enough bitterness and just enough sweetness is not the word I would use. Like it's spicy.
Yeah.
Like gingerbread.
It's good shit.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
I could drink that all day long and be drunk.
Yep. And you can it's a local beer, obviously you can only get it locally from the Asheville Brewing.
Yeah, brother, show up.
They've probably started moving that around other parts of the country now. But if you can find it, it's a good beer to have in the wintertime, especially like when it snows or something. Yeah. It's a great beer to have.
Yeah, and by the way, people were asking, like, none of these beer places like pay us talk about their beer. But they
should.
But if they want to, retroblood69 at Gmail. That's where all the questions and inquiries can happen. Because you know what? We don't have a lot of ads on this show. We're kind of like underground, like rock stars. But I will sell out.
Yeah.
I will sell out quicker than the fucking what was the last Rolling Stones will. You know what I mean? They're punk rock in the beginning or whatever. I'll sell out quick, brother. Put our shit on the commercial. Just pay me.
Yeah, okay. I kind of like that we don't have ads, but yeah, I'll sell out if people want to give us their money. We'll take it.
Hell yeah, brother! I'll sell out quick. All right. So the one I'm drinking over here it's a new one. Okay, I never had this before, and it's kind of weird. So it's made by this brand, Southern Tier Brewing Company. Have you ever heard of Southern Tier?
Yeah, Southern Tier. They're from New York somewhere, right?
I guess. Does it say New York on there?
Yeah, I think they're from New York. I think they're from New York State. Yeah. I believe. I'll look that up while you're telling me about your beer, though.
So this one is their Frosted Sugar Cookie Imperial Stout.
That sounds terrible.
You would hate this beer. Okay.
Oh my God.
It tastes fucking weird, man. Like, it tastes like they just put a pound of sugar in the fucking beer.
Yeah, which is probably what they did. Yeah, I'm seeing 8.6%. Yeah, Imperial. It's a Frosted Sugar Cookie Imperial Ale. Like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, it has like a nice little picture of a snowman, like a little tree on there and shit. You know what I mean? I can eat the old Christmas cookie here and there. You know what I mean? By the fire. You know what I mean? Watching
I just don't want it in my beer.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Okay. By the fire, drinking little cookies, watching the Dorm That Drip Blood that was an 80s movie that didn't have any titties. Kind of weird. But
I know we almost got some, but then we didn't.
Yeah. Strange. But it's when I first took a swing of this, like it caught me off guard. I was like, "Ew." It's so sweet that it's almost like sour. It's crazy. Okay. But the more I'm drinking it, it's not too bad, but I definitely probably won't be drinking this one again. Okay. After I finish
we're not going to get any money from Southern Tier.
I mean Southern Tier. This is the best beer I've ever had, brother. Like, brother, I will go into your bar, I will drink all your beer, and I will talk to all your fat girls with the tits, brother. That's how much I love your beer. Okay.
So good.
I love Southern. I love Southern Tier, brother. They're great.
Southern Tier.
But anyway.
Oh my God, yeah. But yeah, they're from Lakewood, New York, which I think is like in upstate New York.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're like, yeah. I mean, they make beers that are good.
They probably
don't get me wrong. I mean,
it's just one beer, but I'm just playing around. You know what I mean? I love all beers except for I mean, like Budweiser.
Except for these Southern Tier beers. Fuck those guys.
But I'll be drinking on this show, brother, all day long, talking about kids going upstairs, downstairs, and I have this girl, Joanne, bitching about people taking some seats, okay? It's going to be a good one. But let's talk about the history segment. Like we do every Retro Blood. We talk about what is going on in two of our favorite categories, the pro wrestling and the metal. The reason we do this is to expand the show, make it a little bit more interesting, not just talk about one subject the whole time. Let's talk about a couple things going on in the 80s. You know what I mean? They all go together too. You know what I mean? Like
they do.
Yeah, you watch a horror movie, you know what I mean? Listen to a metal album, you know what I mean? Go to a pro wrestling show. They all mix together. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure our boy Craig, he looked like he looked like he would like the Dallas territory. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, I was thinking that, he might be into the AWA because there was an AWA show like 2 days before this movie came out.
Oh, there you go. So, how about we get into it? So this movie was released in September. So it was September 10th, 1982. And this one was actually, there's a couple things. So this one was actually released under the title Pranks. Okay? When it was released under that date. The reason it's called The Dorm That Dripped Blood, that's what we're calling it. I almost choked on the sugar cookie, brother.
Man, I think it'll kill you.
Oh, fuck, bro. That fucking sugar snowman's attacking me. Man, I better not talk shit about their beer again.
It nearly killed you.
I know, shit. But anyway, like I was saying, the reason it's called The Dorm That Dripped Blood because when it was released as Pranks, let's just say a lot of people weren't going out to the theater and watching it. It was getting like the title wasn't really intriguing to a lot of people. And when they were doing their screenings around this time, they had to change up the name so they would get the crowd coming in because the Pranks wasn't doing it for anybody.
Yeah. I don't really know why this is called Pranks. That doesn't make any sense to me. The other names seem much better than Pranks.
Yeah.
The version I watched was actually called Blood Dorm.
Yes, that was actually the title, like in the middle. Like that's the title that they released it on.
Yeah. And
then they re-released it again under the Dorm That Dripped Blood. But we'll talk about that when who booked this shit because it's a very interesting story. But Alison, you said you got some wrestling going on.
I do. So you said that this came out on the 10th.
Yes.
So there was a release on the 10th and a release on the 19th. So there was a couple of different shows around the 10th that I just want to talk about a couple of different things on the card. So SECW, which was running in Dothan, Alabama that night, they had a show and they had the Robert Fuller and Jimmy Golden defeated the New Zealand Sheep Herders, which was Jonathan Boyd and Luke Williams. Yes. And remember we had a show where we talked about the Sheep Herders. Yeah. So the Jonathan Boyd era was like the one of them had left already, right?
Yeah,
or wasn't in the group.
What's his name? Butch or something? I don't remember his government
Butch,
name.
Yes.
But
Butch is the other one.
Yeah, he went back to New Zealand during this time and just wrestled there because he didn't want to do the States anymore. So that's why they had Jonathan Boyd fill in and do and they were supposed to be like they said the new Zealand Sheep Herders, like they were like the new ones.
Yes.
So, but I like how they
yeah.
I probably could say it too. So they won the NWA Southern Eastern Tag Team titles.
Yes. Yeah.
How many? What's your favorite Southern Eastern Tag Team title match, Alison?
Probably this one because it's the only one that I can think of off the top of my head.
Bro, those are prestigious titles. I mean, come on, you are the tag champions of the Southern Eastern
of the Southeast.
Like,
yeah, But it's really weird though, because like this is Dothan, Alabama. Like Dothan, Alabama is like way south. It's almost like it's on the Gulf almost. Like it's near Florida. Like that's not the Southeast by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, you know,
I don't even know how they got this.
They were expanding their territory at the time.
Oh, were they? Okay. They were expanding their territory. I believe this is where Arn Anderson came from as well. There was also another title change that night. Wayne Ferris defeated Austin Idol to win the NWA Alabama title.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So this is a title we haven't talked about before. So he was the champion of Alabama.
Imagine
remember we've had the
being
East Texas Championship or whatever.
Are you telling me there's a title that you could be the champion of Alabama?
You can, yes.
Like,
you could be.
Does that mean you would be also the NASCAR heavyweight champion too?
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Would you be the beer drinking in your truck national champion?
North Carolina is more known for NASCAR than Alabama.
What's Alabama known for? Bob Holly? That's the only thing I could think of.
College football and civil rights violations. I don't know.
Alison, how are you going to market the civil rights national champion? Okay, come on.
Oh, that would be that's what they should have had. The civil rights national champion. Or which is the champion of NWA champion of Alabama. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Dothan, Alabama is like a there's a lot of wrestling there and people don't talk about it a lot. I don't know a lot about it, to be honest with you. I learned most of what I know about it from Arn Anderson's podcast because he went there to wrestle for years.
Yeah.
So I don't really know a lot about the Dothan territory. The E should make a documentary about it.
Oh, that'd be something.
And then there was one other thing I wanted to ask you about too. So like the next day there was a show at the Omni in Atlanta. It was a really good card. Ole Anderson defeated Roddy Piper, Tommy Rich defeated Super Destroyer, Paul Orndorff was on the card fighting Harley Race. He had a really good card, but one thing I thought was interesting. So Bob Garrett, who I'm not really sure who that is, he was defeated by someone billed as the Road Warrior, which is Joe Laurinaitis. So it was Road Warrior Animal, but this is 1982. Is this before they were the Road Warriors? Before surely this is not before he met Hulk, right? Or maybe it is.
It could have been. Let me see. When did the Road Warriors get going?
Because that's not the story that I've ever heard from them. Was that the story that I understood was that they were basically, two bouncers from Minnesota, from Minneapolis or whatever, or was it Chicago? Maybe it was Chicago. And then when they met and got into wrestling, they came up with the Road Warrior gimmick. But this kind of implies that he was wrestling as the Road Warrior before, because it doesn't say Road Warrior Animal. It says Road Warrior Joe Laurinaitis.
So it said Road Warrior, let's see. Road Warrior, so Joseph Michael Laurinaitis, which was Road Warrior Animal, okay?
Yeah.
He debuted in, okay. Well, actually, that's crazy. So his birthday is actually September 12th, 1960. So he's actually
22.
He was celebrating a birthday when the Dorm That Drip Blood came out, brother. So that's happy birthday to our boy. So let's see when he started wrestling. So he said he debuted. So he debuted in November of 1982. So if he debuted in November of 1982, then yes, I guess John Laurinaitis was using the Road Warrior name before he did.
Well, no, this is him. This is Joe Laurinaitis.
I was sorry. I was thinking about his brother, but yeah. So yes, he was using the. So he made his debut in November 1982, competing as the Road Warrior using a biker gimmick. After only a few matches as a single competitor, his career and life would change thanks to an idea by Paul Ellering. So basically, when we were saying he made his debut in 1982, that means his TV debut. So he was probably in September. Yes. He was probably wrestling like this probably wasn't a televised match. But yes, he was doing the biker Road Warrior gimmick, and then he later joined with Hawk, and they become the Road Warriors. Oh, okay. There you go, brother.
Yeah, so they weren't maybe doing the Mad Max gimmick yet, right? Because they got that
Yeah, they
got
didn't do that
that
until
from
later.
the movie The Road Warrior.
Yeah. And then right now they're doing the leather biker gimmick. You know what I mean?
Right.
With like the leather pants and then the leather, the little leather hat and stuff. And yeah.
Yeah.
There you
No
go.
wonder they changed that. No wonder they changed that away from that to the spikes and the face paint, the mohawks.
Yeah, but at first though, for a while they were actually coming out with the whole biker look of the leather chaps and the vests and the hats and the gloves. They were coming out there for a little bit. Then they changed over. So, but yeah, that's pretty interesting though. I liked it. But yeah, I mean we got not the best wrestling card unless you're in Alabama. You get to see the Alabama champion, brother. I mean, I wonder if you're
in Alabama, you can see the
I wonder if you're the Alabama champion, you're like required to drink beer.
Oh, well, I guarantee that you do.
You know what I mean? Like it's not.
I mean, how could you not? How could you not do that? Right?
Like you have to. Like it's actually required.
It's required.
It's in the contract.
It's
okay.
Maybe it is.
Got to have about 3 Budweisers.
The title has like
okay.
the title has like 2 crossed like Budweiser long necks on it.
Yes. Duh.
I don't think Bud Light was out yet, so it has to be straight Budweiser.
Yeah, definitely straight Budweiser. But yeah, I mean, a couple little shows going on, not too bad. You know what I mean? Not the most exciting stuff happening at this time, but it's we got something going on over here.
We got something. There's something to go to every day in the 80s.
Yes. Speaking of something, we do got a little bit of metal to talk about. And this is actually a band we actually haven't talked about before, which is surprising because they're actually a pretty big band that came out of the 80s. Of course.
Yeah, I feel like this band's kind of underrated.
Yeah, I would say that. Like, they're not my favorite band, and I don't really like a whole lot of their songs, but there is a couple gems in there. You know what I mean? That you can find. So the band, the band we're talking about is the band Twisted Sister.
Yeah.
And we're talking about their album, their first studio album, Under the Blade.
Yes.
Came out around September 1982. So what? I know you probably know a little bit more about this band, Alison. So what can you tell us about the good old Twisted Sister?
So honestly, I'm not a huge fan, so I don't know a ton about them. I do know that this album, being their first album, is much more raw than they would get when they came out with that Stay Hungry album 2 years later when they got huge, with We're Not Gonna Take It. Like, they got gigantic then. But this album was put out by an independent label called Secret Records. But then Secret went out of business fairly soon after that. So it was like a British label. So they signed Twisted Sister from New Jersey, but they signed Twisted Sister and brought them to England to make an album. They were kind of like a punk label that was trying to survive the 80s, like, by getting more band like 1980s metal bands and things like that. So they brought them to England to record this album. And then released it like in September of 1982, like a month after they recorded it. And it was kind of hard to get in the United States for a long time. They remixed it in 1985 after Stay Hungry got big. Atlantic Records re-released it, but they remixed it to make it sound like a more polished 1980s album. They made it sound like Stay Hungry, basically. To me, this is when Twisted Sister was good. Like, this is like, it's just dark and raw, and it's not overproduced. It has Sin After Sin on it. It's got What You Don't Know Sure Can Hurt You, Bad Boys of Rock and Roll. Those are the songs that I knew from this album before I researched it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, this is a good album. I mean, if you think that, a lot of people think that Twisted Sister's kind of a joke band, and they kind of were by the time they got famous, but if you want to hear something like kind of more dark and more gritty, this is like really, really good. And I can imagine, like, when they were playing shows on this tour, they were probably terrifying people with the way they looked and like the sound that they had.
Yeah.
Like, there was nobody doing, well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, Alice Cooper was kind of like that, but other than Alice Cooper wasn't really doing that shit anymore. So they were kind of like the new Alice Cooper in a way.
Well, the big thing about the Twisted Sister was the makeup, the drag elements that Dee Snider used.
The drag elements, exactly.
So, a lot of people at this time were like, whoa, what's going on over there? This fucking tall ass fucking dudes, wearing these women's clothes and, big fuzzy hair and stuff. Of course, we're kind of used to that now with because of the whole glam rock scene that's came out of the 80s and stuff. But, this is like early, like this is like 1982. Like all this shit is like brand new.
This is a little before that.
Yeah. Before that stuff got kind of like big and stuff with the hairspray and the tight pants and, wearing the women's clothes and shit. So, there's actually a pretty good documentary about Twisted Sister out there. I remember watching it one day, like when I couldn't sleep for some reason. It was actually pretty good. It's like you get to see, the evolution of the band and like how different they were at this time period, and like how like their live show was like one of those things where it's kind of like it's kind of like one of those grindhouse movies. You know what I mean? It's kind of like
right.
We're not going to give it promotion, but people come out there because they want to see what's going to happen. So they kind of had that little aura about them. But apparently this album, it ranks number 24 on the Metal Rules list of the top 50 glam metal albums of all time. So pretty good old high place for this. There's actually a funny story, and I don't know if we're going to talk about this again, but I had to bring it up here about the the song "Under the Blade" that one Tipper Gore, the wife of Senator Al Gore, wasn't too happy about at the time. So check this out, everybody. So it was 1985, and the members of the PMRC committee, which we talked about before, they were kind of like this committee run by Tipper Gore, and they were like out there to censor all these albums and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're trying to be, they're like Walmart before Walmart was censoring shit. So
right.
So apparently she found that the song "Under the Blade" referred to sadomasochistic bondage and rape. Okay, promoting violence. And then D. Snyder, he actually had to testify about this song.
Yeah.
Saying to the Congress panel that the song was about surgery and the fear that it instills in people, and concluding that the only sadomasochist bondage and rape in this song is in the mind of Mrs. Gore. What a great line.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, he chose to, because a lot of people did, because they were trying, basically that's why there are labels on albums, because you never had that before.
Yeah.
They went to Frank Zappa, D. Snyder, quite a few other people went to Congress and testified. So he because the point he was making was that the song's about surgery, and anything that she's reading into it is what came up, what came out of her own mind. Like that's her own fantasy. That's her own thought. It has nothing to do with this song, which I think makes the point of what they were trying to do perfect. You know what I mean? Like one thing I was going to bring up was the PMRC thing. Like he made the best argument against music censorship that's ever been made when he testified at those panels. That was amazing.
Yeah.
One of the things I'll respect him for.
But yeah, it's pretty pretty wild during this period. So, but we'll play a little bit of the Twisted Sister at the end of the show. We'll probably play that sadomasochist song. Might
as well.
Yeah, we'll play that one at the end.
Might as well play a song about rape at the end.
Yeah. We'll make a Tipper Gore happy playing that song.
Yeah,
so that's what we'll do. But let's start talking about this film, because there's a lot of interesting shit that went down with this film. So this one is the Who Booked This Shit. All right. Mm-hmm. Of course, it was booked by one Stephen Carpenter, no relation to John, by the way. And
no relation to the guy in the Deftones.
Yes, no relation there. So this is a whole new Carpenter in the fucking film world, brother. That didn't have has much of a bigger name. And then Jeffrey O'Barrow. So, and you said what so you did? I didn't do as much research on them. What did you say they did? They did some good stuff.
Yeah, they made a couple of good movies that I like that we'll probably end up doing on the show eventually. One was called The Power, which was made a couple of years later. It's about, if I remember correctly, there's like a doll that's possessed, or that possesses somebody. It's like an evil spirit in a doll, and it possesses like this kid or something like that. It's been a long time since I've seen it. There's another movie that didn't do very well for them, I don't think. But then they made this movie called The Kindred, which is really good. It came out in 1987. And I remember it being on the video store shelves all the time. But it's like mutant baby. It's like a mutant baby story, kind of like It's Alive.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's like a mutant tentacled baby.
Yeah.
Those are always good.
There you go.
Good films.
Yeah, you gotta have that, brother. Yeah.
It's Alive. Mutant babies are always great.
There you go. Basket case. I can't wait till we do that. Anyway,
no,
so this one was so this film, it was, so I can respect this. So this, like we were saying, it's kind of like a student film. You know what I mean? Like they had like barely any fucking budget. They rented out in the University of California, the campus on there, so they can film a little bit. Not a lot of well-known actors. We're filming on like a fucking 16 millimeter camera. You know what I mean? This is all.
We did.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say we did have Daphne Zuniga in it in her first film.
Yes, that was.
So
her,
she would go on to be kind of famous.
Yes, yeah, I think it's the only one. But yeah, she did come out to be a little bit famous after this.
Yeah.
But what's cool about this, like it just kind of like I can respect the guerrilla style of the film. You know what I mean? Getting out there.
Oh yeah.
Getting stuff going. So obviously this movie, like we were saying at the beginning, was inspired by Friday the 13th. You can see a lot of the elements in there, which, a lot of times we're going to be doing slashers, from 1982 to maybe 1988 or something. They're all pretty much going to be try to do the elements of Halloween and Friday the 13th, because those are like the standard bearers. And then everybody who wants to do film like that, they will take elements from that. Some of them good, some of them not so good. But go ahead.
But yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you're right. I can respect anybody who's trying to do what they want to do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. These guys had a vision. They wrote a movie. They filmed a movie. They completed a movie, and they put it out. It is really weird because Friday the 13th came out in May of 1980, and then by 1981, people are already like, "Let's do that.
Bro. Let's go."
Yep.
I mean, come on. That's kind of happened a little bit, with some of the films, like, nowadays. And, you got those Insidious movies and shit, and everybody wants to do a fucking ghost movie because those ones blew up a lot. You know what I mean? So I could see it. True. We always see like those patterns in horror movies. You know what I mean? Once one gets big, we kept seeing a couple of copies. Shit. Yeah. Yep. I just want to see who's going to copy Terrifier. That's what I want to see. What's next? Because it's going to happen. So
I don't know. Like I have my own opinion about the Terrifier movies, but I don't know. I think they're like an anomaly. There's not going to be anything made like that. I don't think for a while.
Hey man, you never know. We'll see.
Never know.
So this was co-written with Stephen Carpenter and Stacy while they were film students at the University of California, Los Angeles. So the original title of the film was The Third Night. So that's the OG name, The Third Night. Now, I'm not really sure why it's called The Third Night.
Why?
Is it like the third night that the dorm was going to be broken down? I have no idea. So then they scrapped that one, and then they came up with the name Death Dorm after the production wrapped. So that's why we saw it in the credits called Death Dorm, because that was the title that was left in after all the production was done. And I actually like Death Dorm. They probably should have kept that one.
I like that name too.
Yeah. So, but then when they released it here at in September, they went over to the title Pranks. Okay. So they went from Third Night, Death Dorm to Pranks, and then Pranks didn't do well. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to re-release it under the Dorm That Drip Blood, and that came out in 1983. So we got about 4 gimmick names over here, brother. We'll figure it out, okay?
Yeah, and also I couldn't find it. Well, I mean, I didn't watch every version I could find, but they all seem to be the same length. I couldn't really find an unedited version, so this movie was pretty heavily edited.
Yeah, like I heard
the
about
version
that
we both watched. Yeah, the version that we both watched was like the released version.
Yeah.
But I saw the scene on YouTube. It's pretty easy to find, but like the scene where they kill the janitor with the drill, that goes way longer in the original version. It looked way better than it does in this.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I heard about that after I watched it. Like this was like the edited version, and I was like, well, fuck, where's the unedited version? I just could not find anything. So
I couldn't find an edited version either. But I did see that film and that part of the movie. And when we get to it in the movie, I'll talk about it, what it was actually like.
Sweet. So to secure some funding for the film, O'Barrow and Carpenter shot footage for a preempted promotional trailer in order to pitch the film to investors. So they shot like a little like gimmick trailer to show people. But hey, I've done that before. So there you go. So the casting was all done by O'Barrow and Carpenter. They were all doing independent, and they didn't really have a casting director because they could not afford one. So in the film, the casting director was credited as Wesley Lou David, which is alum to the directors and producers' middle names. So, like I said, I can appreciate that. You know what I mean? You got these 2 producer guys, 2 directors. Fuck the casting director, man. I know what I need. I'll get my own shit. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, it just seems like a waste of money.
So we've already talked about, this film was shot on a handheld Eclarn camera on a 16 millimeter film, and then it had to be blown up to 35 millimeter, but that was fun. And then, as this was said, the bulk of the film was shot over a Christmas vacation at the university over a period of around 3 weeks in December 1980 and January 1981. And then the additional photography was completed over the ensuing 6 months. So, not too bad. Of course, this film also got one of those video nasty treatments up there in the old Britain. I feel like every fucking movie, they must have censored every movie known to man.
Well, they censored a lot of the movies that we talk about, that's for sure.
It seems like every
film that we
love,
they censored.
Yeah. And then nowadays, they don't probably give a shit at all. So... we've already talked about there was a shit ton of it edited out. You know what I mean? Because of that. The reason a lot of it was cut out, here in the States, because they were trying to avoid the old X rating, brother. Because if you're the X rating, that means you're going to be up there with, Big Dick Johnson films or something like that. You know what I mean? You're going to be at you're going to be at that orgy house in the fucking American Werewolf in London, brother. That's where you're going to be at.
Yeah, that's the only place that's going to show your movie to get an X rating.
So that's
and those people aren't going to like it because that's not what they go there for.
Exactly, and there was no tits there too. So our boys, they'd been like, "What the fuck? Why am I even here?" Okay,
that's how you can tell this was low budget. They couldn't even afford nudity.
Exactly. So that's why a lot of people want they try to get their film to like below the X, because that shit is gonna be with all the porn. So it didn't officially get the name The Dorm That Dripped Blood until July 15, 1983. But that's where we're gonna do it, because that's how everybody can actually find the film, because that's the only way it's like under nowadays. So,
which, I think that's the best name. I do like Death Dorm.
Yeah.
And I love that Death Dorm logo. That looked really good with the huge A in the middle.
Yeah.
But I think The Dorm That Dripped Blood is the best name.
The poster is cool too.
Personally.
For the Dorm That Dripped Blood. I posted that on the Facebook page when I do our little teasers of what we're going to be reviewing for the week. Everybody check it out. By the way, everybody check out the Facebook page, the group page, the Instagram. We got a brand new logo. We're going strong over here.
Sweet.
Yeah, we got all that shit going, brother. All right, we got that going. If you join the Facebook... I
heard there's a new movie up too.
Yes. So I put out another Retro Blood short movie, which this one is celebrating the December month, talking all about Krampus. Now, these ones are like super short. You know what I mean? They're basically... I try to do this in the style of VHS. Like, that movie VHS. Of course, these are only like 10 minutes long, if that. Maybe like a minute or two. But I try to be like a little fun with them. So these Retro Blood short videos, I think they're kind of fun. They kind of like represent, what we're talking about this month and stuff. And this next one is about the Krampus demon. Apparently, this guy was trying to do a day in the life of an axe thrower. But for some reason, every time he uploaded his video, Krampus showed up on the video. So weird. I don't know why.
Damn Krampus.
Yeah, but check it out. It's kind of a fun little thing I like to add on the YouTube channel. Of course, you can find all the shows on the YouTube channel, clips from the channel, and of course, if we have anything extra like our wrestling adventures, metal adventures, and stuff, I post it all on the YouTube. And then probably pretty soon over here, if I can get everything worked out, me and Alison might be able to do some live videos on there too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see. We got some like Alison said, this is gonna be a big year in the 2024 for the Retro Blood. We're gonna be out there, and brother, if we can get a beer sponsor, I mean, come on, might as well.
That would be awesome. That'd be the best thing if we could get a beer sponsor. That'd be the best thing we could do.
If y'all, hey, anybody out there likes to drink beer and needs people to promote it, I'll promote your beer all day. All right, I'll wear your beer shirt, your beer hat, your koozie, your beer sweatpants. I don't care, brother. I will wear that shit every day.
Your logo tattooed on our forehead. We'll do it all.
I'll do it all, brother. I'll put, you know how like WCW used to put all the shit on the ring? I'll put that everywhere. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we could be like the Randy Savage with our Slim Jims.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Everywhere.
Snap into a Southern Tier beer.
Yeah, exactly. Snap into it all the time. This show is brought to you by Southern Tier. I promise you won't vomit. Yes. But everybody, enough playing around. Let's get into this dorm, brother. Let's get into this dorm that we're shutting down for some reason, and let's talk about our boy Craig and his emotional problems. Let's get into the full review of the dorm that Dream played, brother. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man.
Kids love to play tricks. Certain tricks are called pranks. P R A N.
What's wrong? The phone's dead.
K.
Oh, great.
S.
You've got to trust me.
Pranks is this year's most terrifying motion picture.
You're all alone? I mean, is anybody else helping you out?
Yes, there's a group of us here.
Did you hear anything up on the roof? Do you think we need to go up there?
Need to? We don't need to do anything. I'm getting the thing out of my eye. Hey, what's going on down there?
This isn't funny anymore!
Pranks. When the kidding stops, the killing starts. Pranks. It's a killer.
All right. So we're here. We're at nighttime. We see like these kids in a van driving past really quick. Okay. And then we got one random kid running around a building. I assume this is the dorm building. I'm not exactly sure.
I guess so.
Or it's just some building. And he's like hiding from somebody. And I kind of want to come back to this because I don't understand this part at all when it relates to when we actually find out who the killer is. Okay.
Well, I was going to say this part doesn't seem to have anything to do with the rest of the movie.
Maybe this is his practice. I mean, come on, you got to have some practice.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
So the one thing I noticed about this scene is the guy sits down, right? He's like hiding and shit. And then like the killer like cuts his hand. But it looks like he's cutting like a piece of cake.
I was gonna say that, dude. Like it looked like you know how like they make all those like specialty cakes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes,
it looks like a cake.
It looks like they 3D printed his hand in a cake and they cut his cake.
Yeah. But it looked pretty good.
It looked good. I liked it. Yeah. Then he got choked out, and I was like, "Oh, interesting. Die by cake hand." Okay, interesting. So then we get the intro. This is another weird plot in the film too. We meet a guy named Tim. All right, and Tim is apparently dating Joanne, our main girl in the film.
Tim.
And Tim is like trying to get her to like, I guess, like live with him. I don't remember if they actually said how long they've been dating, but he's basically trying to like live with this girl, and she's not really having it. But Tim he has to go on this trip tomorrow. He wanted Joanne to come on the trip with him, but Joanne has to stay over holiday break and help tear down this dorm. I guess they're shutting down. Okay.
Yeah, like why are the students tearing down a dorm?
Well, maybe Joanne was the student president, and that was maybe she volunteered, brother. Okay.
Yeah, sure. That.
And I do like. I don't know if this comes up right now, but she did say, "Man, I gotta get 300 beds out of here." I was like, "Fuck, 300."
There's only like 4 of them.
Fuck. There's only like 4 of these assholes.
but yeah, I think they're just clearing everything out of it. I don't think they're actually doing the demolition of the building, but it makes it sound like they're tearing the building down.
Exactly. So now they're outside. We a shadowy figure, and they're at like some sort of like going away party or something. And they had one set of Christmas lights, so we're counting it. Okay, brother. I told you it's right here. I saw one Christmas lights holiday movie. All right.
Yeah, like behind the girl's head, you can see holiday. You can see Christmas lights.
We're counting it, brother. Movie. I saw it. Don't tell me I didn't. Okay. Man. So this part was a little funny. This guy named, I believe his name was like, oh God, what's his fucking name? I'll get it later. But basically, this is creepy dude, right? And he's hitting on this girl.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, who are you and stuff? Well, I'm a freshman. He's like, well, where are you from? Florida. All right. And then she's like, not having him, not blowing this guy's off. And she's like, fuck, I'm trying to get these freshman girls. So he calls over Tim and everything. And he calls over Tim and Joanne over for some drinks. And apparently this guy and Tim, they're going to be leaving. They're going to be going off to their vacation together. All right. And then we have the next morning, we see Tim and this guy leaving, and they're telling Joanne, buying everything. And they also brought up that the, this guy, Brian's going to be here. Like, I think they were like implying that Joanne and Brian maybe had a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really too much explored, I guess. So this is when we get her line of like, I gotta get 300 beds out of this dorm. I was like, damn, okay. And she's saying that this dorm is basically going to be turned into like apartments. That's what she thinks. So, and then the guy that they're talking about is Brian Fraser around. But I guess he was supposed to be like a klutz, but he wasn't. Like the way Tim and his friend were talking about him, I was like, I'm sad that you got to stay the night with this guy. But this guy Brian seems super fine and cool, so I was kind of weird about that. So we just have some scenes of Joanne working in the office. This is when Brian and Joanne are talking about Tim, and then Debbie, the girl named Debbie, shows up. And she's basically like, hey, I can't stay. And she's like, what the fuck? You only got a couple people here. She's like, well, I'm sorry. My friends, my family wants to pick me up for the holiday season, but I'll at least be able to work by tomorrow. Okay?
Yeah.
And then Joanne gives everybody
so Tim's going skiing, right?
Yeah, they're going, something. So basically, this crew that's taking this dorm stuff, they're like volunteering to do this. Like, it's not like required, but it's like a volunteer to do this. So this is when Joanne's going out and giving everybody their orders, and they said they only have like 2 weeks, and they got to do the kitchen part first. They got to make sure all the kitchen stuff's out of here, which that comes up a little later. So Tim is now leaving. He sees Joanne off, and then that's it. We don't see Tim at all. Like,
nope.
It's like the plot point. Yeah, I guess he was here to make us look like he possibly could have came back and be the killer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he was one of those people that made us think he could be the killer.
Like we're doing a Scream gimmick before Scream, became out. Which you guys remember about Scream 2? Like Scream was like one of those movies that took a lot of like aspects from horror movies, and one of the aspects of slasher movies is we have to have a lot of like suspects. Okay.
Yeah. Right. So Scream took their plot from movies like this.
Yes. So now the kids are all cleaning up and stuff, and Joanne gets a phone call about the tables, and I guess the guy wanted the table, like they're basically playing hardball with the tables. Like she's like, fucking, I've agreed on the price. You know what I mean? She's like, okay, well, I'll meet you later. You know, about the tables that this company's trying to buy. So Debbie, she's working and stuff, gets freaked out downstairs. We keep seeing the shadowy figure everywhere. Killer. So Joanne and Brian, they're talking about, this scene was a little weird. So we see, this happened like twice in this film. And I liked it, but I didn't like it. Where it's like we're as a viewer, we're seeing over the killer's shoulder, but we're seeing the crew at a far distance. Okay, and this scene
I thought this was really strange.
Yeah,
the way they shot this.
Yeah, because it's like we're not at the killer's eyes, but we're kind of like over his shoulder, but we're seeing these two couples kiss. And listen, I could not tell who these people were. I couldn't tell if it was Joanne and Brian kissing. I couldn't tell if it was Debbie and somebody kissing. I have no idea what this was. At first I thought it was Joanne and Brian kissing. I thought maybe she was like, working on two dicks. I have no idea. Okay, but it was somebody kissing at this time, and the killer was stalking them. Okay, that's what's going on. But the audio was tough. And like they were like, it's not like they're like right there in front of us. No, they're like a fucking, mile away and shit. Okay.
Yeah, and it's all dark around them. Like there's only light. Like it does this several times. There's like light right above the characters where they lit the characters, but nothing else in the room is lit at all.
Yes.
It's just really bizarre. Like why they chose to do this. I'm guessing that it's supposed to be like the killer hiding and peeping on them from a distance is what we're supposed to be.
Yes.
Seeing, even though he's showing it over his shoulder, but yeah, it's really, really weird the way they did that.
So we see Joanne now. She's writing her journal, and then she gets visited by Debbie again, and of course Debbie's apologizing for leaving so early. But she has to go. But apparently, not only is she leaving to go, but also the grandma. She's in hospital, so they have to go back for the holidays. I think the skiing thing was somebody else. But this one, Debbie had to go with their parents to go visit the grandma for the holidays.
Okay.
So she says, go have fun with your family over the Xmas break. And then so Debbie's about to leave, right? But then like Joanne's like, hey, do you have that inventory list? She's like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. I'll go get it in the storage room. Okay. And I say, so Debbie acted like she knew where the list was, but this fucking storage room scene of her looking around took like 10 minutes. Okay? So apparently you didn't know.
That running time, man.
Well, I'm just saying, apparently you didn't know where the list was.
Right.
Okay?
No.
Because it took you 10 minutes. She's looking around everywhere. She goes up on the fucking roof. Dad's out there. Hey, we're here. Oh, I'll be right down. I got to find this list that I knew about. That I don't know where it's at.
Because I'm on the roof looking for it.
I was like, what the fuck? Okay. So now she's taking forever. Okay. And the mom's name is Dora. All right. The mom's like, hey, maybe you should go look at her. She's taking a little bit. She's like, and the dad's like, no, she'd be right down. So they sit in the car together. And the mom's like, okay, I'm going to go look on her. It's like, oh, okay. And he goes and looks for her. I was like, yeah, brother. You could tell they're married. Yeah. So now we get more. This is, we do drinking games on Retro Blood. For everybody who's new to the podcast. So every time I say somebody is walking up a darkened stairs, just take a shot. Take a beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you'll be fucked up by the time this movie is over.
You'll be fucked, brother. So our first boy is Debbie's dad. He's like looking around, calling for Debbie. And then next thing you know, the killer meets him like halfway on these stairs and then bashes his head in with a spiked baseball bat.
Yeah. That was intense.
He's like our boy Negan before Negan was a thing. Okay.
Exactly. So so this movie was this part of the movie was edited too. I saw this scene as well. So this was like he hits him like I think in the movie he gets hit like twice, and then he's dead. But then in the other one he's like there's like a clinking sound like you can hear him like hit it. Nice. Like you see him hit him like 2 or 3 or 4 times. But there's not a lot more blood though.
Yeah. So now I thought this part was pretty cool too when the killer sneaks inside the car. I thought that was kind of clever because usually we just show the girl sitting there and the killer just pops up behind her. But this one we actually see the actual killer sneaking into the whole car and we see the whole action. So I thought that part was pretty clever that they actually don't do nowadays.
Pretty right. I've never seen that before. Like you see his hand come up and unlock the door and open it.
Yeah.
But I still don't really understand how someone could sneak into a car and you not notice.
Well, you know,
that seems
our boy the killer. He actually has special abilities. He can actually be very quiet and open up car doors and make sure the car doors don't squeak.
Yeah, maybe. I was thinking that maybe her mom just had really bad hearing.
There you go. There it counts, Tim. So now Debbie is looking around. She just appeared. I mean, fuck. It took this girl like 10 minutes. I don't know if she even found the inventory list. Okay.
I don't know if she ever found the list.
But Debbie, she sees her dead dad now, and now she's running to go check on her mom. And then her mom, during when they do this like a cutscene where Debbie finds the dad, but then the killer chokes out the mom with some wire. Okay.
Yes.
And then Debbie like runs to go find her mom, and then she just faints. Okay. And like we can't just have her faint and the killer like drag her off. No, brother. Okay, this part was actually
great.
She like faints. And then the guy gets in the car. I was like, all right, this fucking bitch faint, huh? I'll show her. And then he like backs out into her and fucking runs over her head. I was like, damn.
Well, it's not even that. Like he drags her underneath, like behind where the car would be. Like he doesn't even just leave her there. Like he drags her behind the car, and then he gets in and just like runs over her head.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
And then then he puts all the bodies in the car in there. So I was like, okay, we're starting off a little wild over here. So now we have all the kids that are eating some food now, some eggs. And we have one of the girls. They're going to go. She has to go get something from the storage room. And then they see this person. And then while she's getting something from the storage room, which is outside, they see somebody going to she sees somebody going to the trash, which you find out this guy is going to mean his name is going to be John. John, was it Hermit? I believe it was.
Yeah, like he's like a homeless guy.
Yeah, homeless guy and stuff. Yeah, like he's been hanging around this. Yeah, John Hemmett. Okay, he's been. Yeah. So they see him like getting trashed, and then she goes and tells them like, "Hey guys, is there supposed to be anybody else here besides us?" They're like, "No." I was like, "Well, I still this freaking that guy John. He was coming out here, and apparently this guy has been known to like wander around the dorm area, I guess to get food and stuff. You know what I mean? Because he's like, homeless guy. Even though I think he has a room, but he's like a weird, strange individual. So
Joanne, I could figure out like he seems homeless, but he also kind of seems like he lives there.
Yes, yeah, it's kind of strange. So Joanne is the one. They all decided that she has to go have a talk with him because she's kind of like the group leader. And then they all get. Then I guess our boy Craig does his first prank, quote unquote prank, where he throws on a fake spider on eggs as a joke. Ha ha ha. Okay.
Yeah, that's a stretch, but I guess that may be why it was called prank.
But remember, everybody. Remember, everybody. Our boy Craig is the jokester. Okay, he's projecting to everybody that he's a jokester. Hint, hint. Okay. So now Joanne gets called, and the people, the power people, want to turn off the power quicker than how long they want to be there, and she has to fight it. Okay. Yes. And then we meet our boy Bill. He's like the handyman around there, and he's missing his favorite drill.
Uh-oh. What could that mean? Could that be foreshadowing?
Bro, you talk about foreshadowing. They pretty much foreshadowed everything in this film. Every little fucking thing. Okay? Jeez.
Yeah, we're not going to hear about that drill again.
So now, Joanne... So Joanne's like, oh, I think I know who took it. She's going to blame it on the fucking John homeless guy. Okay?
Of course.
So John, I guess he's supposed to be in room 23, but he's not there. And she rocks around. She goes back out because I guess she sees his bicycle. I got no idea. She goes back out. She thinks John's there, but John's not answering the door. So she's like, hey, John, I'm going to leave you a note. Okay, brother? Because, we don't have email at this point of stage. I'm going to leave you a handwritten note.
Yeah.
And staple it on your door.
That's what people did back then. One thing that I noticed, too, about the door was that the number 23 on the door looked like they wrote it with magic marker on a piece of paper and just taped it to the door.
I mean, duh. It's what's in the budget. Okay.
What? Right. It wasn't in the budget.
Yeah. I mean, come on. You know how many fake spiders we had to buy? Come on, guys.
One.
So this character, boy oh boy.
Yeah.
If there is one of the most random 180 characters in horror films, I think our boy Buddy Lee might be on the top. Okay. So this is when Joanne, she meets Buddy Lee. All right. So Buddy Lee is the guy who's going to be.
I thought his name was Bobby.
Is it Bobby Lee or Buddy Lee? I think it might be Bobby.
I think it's
Lee.
Bobby Lee.
I just want to say
it doesn't matter.
Buddy, Bobby. Yes, it is Bobby Lee. Bobby Lee Trimble. Okay.
Yeah.
But Buddy, Bobby, same shit. So,
he's the guy that's buying the tables, right?
Yeah, he's buying the tables. I like he was like, hey, what's up? This guy, okay, let me make sure I got this correct. All right, so he's there. He's like, hey, sweet thing. He's like, yeah, I'm the guy buying the tables and stuff. Like, I guess, I'm not sure if he was working for the company or something, but he was like, hey, I got the check over here. He's all like, hey, I come around this area, especially at the junkyard. You wouldn't believe what people throw away. You know what I mean? So this guy...
And he finds that damn lamp.
It's fucking flirting.
Just needs a plug.
He's flirting with this girl, Joanne, about him being a junkyard expert. Okay? So he's trying to flirt and stuff. And he's like, says like, I just come around here and I pick up this junk all the time. All right? And he's flirting everything. He's like, how about we hang out after this? And she's like, our girl, Joanne, is not having it at all. So she leaves.
Let's go hang out in my junkyard.
But that's not it. Okay, so this one was a calm scene. But boy, when we see our boy Buddy Lee again, I'm going to have to ask you some questions about that scene, Alison. But we'll get there.
Oh, God. Okay.
So we had the first person view back. Because, this is 1982. And if we're not copying Halloween, what are we even doing with our films? Okay?
Yep. Plus, we're on a handheld camera, which is why we're doing
Or technically, if you want to go way back in the time machine, brother, Black Christmas did it first. Thank you.
True.
So first person view of the building. We see this, I guess this is Bill. He's like working alone and he hears a couple noises. And then now we have all the kids sitting around the table. This is like, they did that scene again where it's like, they're like a fucking mile away and we can barely hear what they're saying at all.
Yeah.
And then we have Craig. I believe this is Craig and Patty playing a pool together. And they're talking about school grades and all this shit that I don't really care about. They talk about how Craig So here's our boy Craig's strategy for school. He doesn't study at all. What he does is he just sucks up to all the teachers, and while he does that, they just pass him regardless.
Yes.
Alison, I'm pretty sure you went to school. I went to school too. I like some teachers, and even the teachers I like, they still effed my ass most of the time. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, most of them. I'm not nearly as likable as Craig, I guess.
Maybe it's an '80s thing. You know what I mean? They're like, our boy Craig, he likes to drink and party. We'll give him an A. He don't need to study. Thing. This is the '80s, brother. As long as you're drinking, partying, and doing cocaine, you get an A+ in my book. You're fine.
Yep.
So now we have Joanne and Brian talking about Tim. And then this is when we're doing some... I thought this whole Tim gimmick and Joanne was going to be like, a big plot point, but it wasn't really at all. Like,
nope.
they were just talking about relationship and stuff and how they've been together for like 2 years and how like she doesn't know if she wants to like live with this guy yet. All right. So I was like, okay. And then the groups play a game of pool together. Okay. Then we have some footsteps outside, which is kind of weird because what we find out who's going to be the killer later on. And Patty. Now
that is really hot, isn't it?
Yes. So maybe the killer might be in this room playing pool right now. So what I'm saying is, the killer is playing pool right now in the room, but then we get cut to a scene of the killer walking outside. Got you.
It's almost like when they shot this, they didn't know who the killer was going to be.
Well, you know what? Just make it up as you go. This is the best.
Sure. We don't need a script or anything.
So now Patty and Craig, they're losing. All right. And then, Craig is like saying, man, I should have this Joanne on my team. Hint, hint. Everybody. And And then our girl Patty gets a beer, and I guess Brian wants a beer. And then now Joanne wants to talk to Brian. Okay, so now after this, they hear like a little bit of a noise. Okay, like well, no, actually, we might have been wrong. So the footsteps they heard outside, we thought it was the killer. Which, you know, the scream made it look like the killer, but the supposed killer, the guy outside, was John. He was walking outside.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He's looking through the window. I forgot about that. Yes.
So Patty sees him through the window when she gets the beer.
Yeah.
And now she's like, "Hey, I saw that guy John." Everybody's like, "Okay." So, you know, they're all kind of like weird about this guy John being around. So they all go out and look for him. Okay. And then
they go chase him down.
Yeah, they go chase him down. And so they're walking everything. They're looking all around. Patty and Craig. You know, so I guess it was. Patty and Greg are going to stay around the bottom floor. And then Joanne and Brian, they're going to go back into the dorm main building and look around there. So this is when we see them split up. We see Craig, he goes up to he thinks he saw them up on the roof, so he goes up on the roof. We get a bunch of scenes of Joanne and Brian looking all around the dorm. They suggest going onto the roof, then they don't go onto the roof, and then Brian wants to go onto the roof. Oh, I mean, it's back and forth, brother. Like stairs here, stairs there. Everybody just take 3 shots right now because they're on the fucking stairs the whole time. Okay? So now Joanne, she's waiting on the elevator, and she gets scared, okay, because somebody pops the elevator door out, and it's Bill, okay? And Bill's like, "Hey, what the hell? I heard some noise over here. I was working." And she's like, "No, it's just me." He's like, "Okay, where are you trying to go?" "I'm going to trip the wire." She's like, "I'm trying to go to the second floor." So he brings her to the second floor. Okay. And then they all meet up, the whole crew. They all meet up. Craig, Patty, Joanne, and Brian. And Craig's like, "Man, I almost got the guy, but he escaped from me and stuff." And it's like, "Okay, well, fuck it. Let's just go back. Go back to the house." And then Patty's like, "Well, can I sleep with you tonight, Craig? On your floor?"
Yeah.
And Craig's like, "No, you can sleep on my bed." And she's like, "Oh, no. Joanne, can I sleep on your floor tonight?" She's like, "Okay." Damn, our boy Craig got no game, Playboy.
No, he doesn't. None at all.
Okay, so here's the scene I want to ask you about, Alison.
Okay.
I thought this scene was the most random scene for a character. And I'm semi confused, but I'm not confused with why they did this scene, but I'm confused about why they did this scene, if that makes sense. Okay. So we got our boy Bobby Lee. All right. He just got done fucking a hooker, his girlfriend, wife. I have no idea who this girl was. Okay. She wasn't naked. Yeah. She was in some lingerie. He's done. He goes and takes a piss, right? Yes. And then after he's done taking a piss, it's like 2 a.m. or some shit, 2 or 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And he phone calls, okay, in the fucking middle of the night, the Joanne girl who he's buying some desks from, and she actually picks up, and he's talking about, "Hey, you know, we can just go out right now and have a couple drinks." I'm like, "Mother, it's in like 2 a.m.? Like, what's going on over here?"
Don't they even say that? Yeah. Doesn't his girlfriend or whatever say it's like 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
Because this is the scene where they're inside his apartment or whatever, and then crap, hit the mic. They're inside his apartment, and then she's like, "Don't you want to stay with me?" or something like that. And then she takes off her top, and he's like, "Nope."
Yeah, no.
And he like calls Joanne at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was really weird. So my understanding of this is the only way he knows her is because he's buying the desk from her.
Yes, that's it. And he met her. Okay, I can understand you meet this girl, you're attracted to her, but obviously this girl doesn't want to have anything to do with you. Our boy got some liquid courage, I guess, after fucking.
Yeah, I guess.
And he's just like, "Oh, I'm going to call the bitch at 2 o'clock in the morning, and she'll want to go have sex with me because I'm Buddy Lee, brother." Okay.
Buddy Lee Triple. Maybe this is like a 1980s thing that we just don't do anymore. Maybe that was the thing. You could just call some girl at 2 o'clock in the morning, and
you know what I mean. If I was Buddy, you know what I mean. Fuck this random girl. You know, might as well put your shot out there. You know, I can respect them.
You might as well. Yeah.
I mean, she was just like, Like, we didn't get to hear what she said over the phone call. I wish we did. But, like, it looked like it didn't go anywhere. But then he's like, well, I'm going to go out driving anyway.
Yeah. She's
like,
like, why the fuck are you calling me at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah,
I told you I didn't want to go hang out at your junkyard.
Yeah. But I'm going to go out driving, just in case. I mean, she didn't necessarily say no. Okay.
Right.
So I was getting to be honest with you, I was kind of getting little Henry vibes from our boy Buddy Lee.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think
you know what I mean? Like, it is a horror movie, brother. You know what I mean? He's he's a little creepy. So now we have Bill. Okay, he's back. He's still in the working at the dorm. I guess they hired Bill to like break down some stuff or something in the dorm. So he's
the maintenance guy.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Bill, he's washing up and stuff. And so I thought that he lost his drill, but apparently his drill was just in the washroom the whole time, plugged in. So, like, did he find it?
Well, you see the killer plug it in.
Okay, so the killer had it on him. I gotcha.
Yeah, so you see the killer plug it in. So this scene is shot really weird. So you see the killer like with a plug in his hand, and he goes to plug this plug in while Bill starts to wash his face or whatever in the sink. And then you see a shot of the drill just like laying on the ground.
Yeah, ain't no battery power one too, brother. We got a cord on that bitch.
Yeah, I don't know if they had cordless drills in 1982. Maybe they did. But yeah, this is also like to drill through somebody's skull.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to mention how I know this, but I'm just saying that like you have to plug in the AC power because cordless power, like battery packs just aren't strong enough to drill through a skull like that.
Well, you might have some, experience. We don't know.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say anything about how I know that, but I'm just saying that you have to get a drill that plugs on the wall to be able to do that.
So basically, this is when we get the old drill through the head scene, Allison. And I saw the cut version. So how was the uncut one?
So in the uncut one, so in the cut one, does it show the killer come up behind him and grab him, right?
Yeah.
He pushes his head down into the sink, and then then you see him push the drill towards his head, and then throws it into the floor. That's it. Yeah. And then the blood splatters on the wall or whatever. So in this one, he grabs him and he puts his head down in the sink, and then you see like the back of his head. It looks fucking fantastic. Like I really have no idea how they were able to afford this special effect, but there's a fake head. It looks great, and he puts the drill to the back of the guy's head, and he drills directly into the guy's head. And then there's like blood and like goo, like not shooting out of it, but like coming out of it. And then it turns to another scene, another angle where you're seeing like Bill's face, and he's like still like a real actor, like he's not like a dummy or anything. And he's like moving his face, and like the guy's still drilling in the back of his head. And then then the blood squirts on the wall, and he just like throws him at the floor, and then that's it. But it's like you can see him drill directly into his head. It was great. Like I don't know why that hasn't been restored into some version, but it's fantastic.
Well, maybe we'll get the Arrow version of it soon.
Maybe.
So now it's the next morning, and we have Brian and Craig out there in the wood area, just throwing some debris away, and they're talking a little bit, and then they notice John walking around, and Craig's like, okay, I'm gonna finally talk to this guy. All right, so he runs up to John, and John's like running away from him. They're kind of like running away from each other, and Craig's like, hey man, I need you to stay away, okay? And then like he's basically like Craig is getting really, really angry about John, and Brian's basically telling him like, hey man, calm down, like lay off, man, lay off, okay? So he gets the point. All right. So now we're back with Patty, and apparently Patty, she has now got a postcard from her parents they're at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without her, yeah.
And apparently they left a message with this guy named John, no relation to the John that we have that's running around crazy. It's a different John, all right, that we never see in the film at all. And they gave John this message, and it was about this old boyfriend. And then Joanne, she's asking, oh, is there anything to that? And she's like, no, I like somebody else. And she's like, oh, is that somebody else, Brian? She's like, oh, how did you know? And I was like, first of all,
how did you know?
First of all, how would you know? Because this girl Patty is barely in the fucking scenes with Brian. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, how would we know? Okay.
How would we know? How would we know that?
Except for you saying it right now. And of course, and then Patty is trying. She's like super sensitive about it. You could not tell Brian at all. So I guess at this time we're supposed to believe that maybe Patty could be the killer. So this is like I said. First we're thinking John, the crazy man, homeless guy. John's the killer. Then it could be possibly this Tim guy that we hear about that he left. Then it could be Patty now. So it could be all these. We're getting these suspects over here. All right. So now we have Craig. He's setting the dinner table. Oh, okay. And Joanne, she has to have candles at this fucking table. She's like, come on, it'd be really fun if we had some candles. Okay. And then we have a person grabbing the bread. We bring that up later. So remember, somebody grabbed the bread. And then, of course, Craig gets there and he doesn't see the bread. So he starts to wander around. And he's like, oh, fuck, that guy John took the damn bread again. Or took something.
Yeah.
And then now Joanne, she is there. She's now trying to find Brian. Okay. Yeah. And of course, she can't find Brian. So now I guess he could be the killer. Yeah. Everybody's the fucking killer except for Joanne, apparently. All right. So now, while Joanne's trying to find Brian, somebody hammer smash faces the dinner table.
Yes.
All right. They're like, fuck this fake Thanksgiving dinner. All right. And
one thing that I would like to do, one thing I'd like to do that I didn't have time to do this time, I'd like to watch the movie again now that I know who the killer is.
Yeah.
And see if this person could actually be in all those places that they were supposed to be in. Because, they run off. They're chasing John, right? Because he stole the bread.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned before, the killer was in the room where they were playing pool. So could the killer get back to smash up the dinner table? I don't know. It seems weird,
so what I thought happened was the supposed killer was tricking the camera.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all
because it's a shoot. All right.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
I mean, I guess there's once we find out who the killer is, there's a couple of things you can think about yeah, it's kind of interesting. Could he actually be there in all these places? I don't know. It seemed like some of it was he was playing off to the camera more than he was playing off to people. So.
Yes.
So now Joanne, she's looking for Patty. Okay. And then we have Brian. He shows up out of nowhere. So like, where have you been? Uh-oh. And then they go see the table, and the table's all smashed up. And they think it's John, the John guy.
Right.
That they think he smashed up the whole table, and that this guy John is basically harassing them. So they all go to the police station. Okay. Mm-hmm. So before they do that, Joanne's like, I'm going to make that phone call. Oh, okay, shit. Damn, girl. She's going to make that phone call. So they're all at the fucking police station. They take the statement from the police officer. They're basically saying, like, this John guy's been just like, wandering around. And then the guy's like, well, did you actually see John smash the table? They're like, no, but we know it was him. Okay. And then they give what John looks like, and the cop's like, oh, we might have picked up this guy a while ago. If we did, we'll give you a call. So go back to your dorm. Okay. So now Joanne will feel better when they actually find this guy. All right. Mm-hmm. And then of course Craig, he wants Patty to come to his room. Okay. For some, comfort, brother.
Yes.
So this, and then remember that though. So Craig, we've seen Craig twice try to pick up on Patty. Remember that, everybody. Okay?
Yeah.
Remember that. So now we have Joanne calls her mom and they talk a little bit about the holidays. She hangs up, and then Patty comes in here, and of course, Joanne says like she thinks she hears somebody on the roof, which she thinks it could be John. Okay, and of course the phone is now dead. And the power goes out. Oh, 2 80s slashers tropes there, brother. The phone died and the power goes out. So now we have Brian. They see Brian through they're like on like the part of the dorm, and then they see them on the bottom. They tell them to come up to the room. Is everybody ready to drink? Is everybody ready?
I am always ready to drink.
Okay, so Brian comes up the stairs super slow. Okay?
Yeah.
You can barely see anything, brother, but you know this guy's taking his fucking sweet time. He's like, brother, I got a contract where I got at least 30 minutes of screen time. Okay? I'm going to make my way up these stairs.
Well, he's sneaking. He's sneaking up the he's sneaking up the stairs on the killer.
So then we have this light shines in your eye, and not only does it shine in his eye, but it shines in our eyes too. Okay? So
yes, like, right in the camera.
Right in the camera. And he's like, hey, man, turn that shit off. And then he gets knocked out. Okay. And did you see any extended scene of him getting killed, our boy Brian?
No, the only 2 extended scenes I saw were when Daphne Zuniga's dad gets killed, and then when Bill gets killed.
Gotcha. So now Craig comes in, and he thinks that the power being turned off was a joke. Ha ha ha. I was just like, wait a minute, what? Why would it? Okay, so hold on a second. So this Craig guy was super pissed. First of all, this Craig guy, he only did one joke the whole movie so far. The other part of the movie, he's just trying to get in Patty's pants. Okay, we got that. Right. We got that correct. And now he thinks somebody is joking, even though he's the one getting pissed off and trying to kill. He knows this John guy's been stalking him. So this is a little weird. So now they have to turn on the power. They got to go down to the kitchen area to turn on the power and stuff. So, you know, Joanne wanted to go, but they're like, but then like, Joanne wanted to stay, but Patty did not want to stay in one place. She wanted to like not being stuck in the room. So she agreed to go down to the kitchen area with Craig to turn on the light. All right. And then this is when Patty's like, oh, Craig, don't be joking around on me. And, of course, Craig jokes for a second. Okay. Pranks, brother. Yeah. Ha, ha, ha. We're doing pranks.
That's why it was called pranks. Yeah, exactly.
So now they go into the to the storage room where all the power is. Okay. And then they're down there. And Craig, he's trying to turn on the light, but he can't do it. The only light he turned on was a fucking Christmas light. See? It's a holiday horror movie, brother. We told you. Okay, got that one. We have 2 Christmas lights in this whole fucking movie. Are we counting it?
Yep, it's a Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie, all right? And then Patty's just bitching the whole time. What the hell is taking so long? You suck. Turn on the damn power. Okay? And then she's like, you better not be joking again there, Craig, about this. And then she tries to go see him, but then she sees him I guess like knocked down or something. So she tries to head on out of there, and then she gets attacked by the killer. Okay, and she's so also to the power like turns all. So I don't know. So I guess if you turn on the power maximum strength, Alison and everybody, you can actually turn on cooking equipment. Okay.
Well, if it were plugged in and turned on when the power was turned off, I guess you could. Yes.
Because we have the meat shredder going crazy. We have like this coffee thing going crazy. Everything is going crazy. Okay.
But that would require all of that stuff to be like running when the power went off.
Yeah.
So,
no problem.
Weird, right?
Yeah. So now Patty's getting attacked by the killer. All right. They start fighting. She gets away a little bit, and they're fighting all around there. And eventually the killer comes up and he knocks her out. He does Patty, and he puts her in a barrel, and I guess he cooks her with food acid water.
I thought he put her in like a big pressure cooker.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay.
Like a giant crock pot or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it was made by the brand Groen. This is a big food brand. So yeah, you put her in basically a huge pressure cooker. I was like, damn. There you go, brother. So Craig goes back to the to the room that Joanne was at, and he's all like, "Hey, I don't know what happened to Patty and stuff. Like, I got somebody hit me, all right, and I can't find Patty and stuff." And they're like, kind of like, okay. And then she's like, you know, we got to see if this John guy is wrong. So while this is happening, we see that the John character is actually in the dorm walking around. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then Craig, you know, he gives Joanne a weapon, and he has a weapon too. Okay. And then they're slowly going to go down the stairs. Is everybody drinking? Okay, you better be.
Yep.
That's at least the 4th stairs we've done, right? You know what I mean?
At least, yes.
At least. So they're running. So they're going down the stairs, and they run into John. They see the fucking John guy, and they start fighting him and stuff, right? So Joanne gets away, all right? And then the whole time is John's like saying, you know, it's like, don't go in there. You gotta trust me. You gotta trust me. It's like, I came here to take you away. All right. I was like, okay, wait. I was like, wait a minute. What's going on over here? You could tell that so this John character was basically trying to either trick Joanne, or he's really bad at being a conveying guy of trying to help somebody.
Well, I mean, he definitely is. I mean, that was the whole point of his character, right? But when he's like, no, you got to trust me.
Yeah.
But like he acts crazy, so nobody wants to trust him.
Yes. And then he's like, sorry, I took that bread. I was like, motherfucker, I knew it was you.
Huh.
And he's like, don't make any noise. Just open the door. All right. And then like, so like Joanne, she goes into like the freezer or something, and she locks herself in. This is when our boy John's like saying like, I'm sorry, I took the bread, and you could trust me. Just open the door, please. You could trust me. And then Joanne looks around, and now she can see everybody's dead body. Okay. And I believe, I'm not sure who was, I think it was Brian was the one who got like fucking cut up and macheted.
Chopped up. Yeah.
Yeah. With his arms and shit. And then of course she grabs the machetes. All right. Oh, by the way, like when they were fighting John, like he kind of like knocked out Craig. I think we forgot to say that. So now she opens up the door for John, and then when she does that, she like cuts his arm with the machete, and she runs away. All right, and she's running away, and she eventually like meets up with Craig. Okay, and they're like they know they need to get out of there. Okay, but then they come up with the trick John, and then Craig runs out right in front of John, distracts him. This is when we have Joanne. She like knocks him out of the picture. She basically just knocks him. I don't know if she killed him. She knocked him so hard that she possibly could have killed him.
I thought she killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she killed him.
Yeah. So, and they're trying to find a way out of there now. And then they're, of course, they were doing some slow walking through the stairs and hallway. Oh. Okay.
Well, yeah. We're basically right at the end of the movie at this point. So we gotta pad that 82-minute running time.
Yeah, come on now, brother. So after the whole distraction of John, Craig attacks him. Joanne knocks his ass out. They all hug. Craig and Joanne, they hug. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And he says like, "Don't worry about it, nobody's ever gonna hurt you." And Joanne's like, "Okay, we gotta leave." And Craig's like, no, we can't. Look what we did. We gotta stay together. All right.
Yeah.
And then he's all like,
"We're a team."
Okay. When we have some of the killer reviews, like, they're like, hey, I'm the mastermind behind everything. Like
Scooby-Doo moment. Yeah.
Yes, the Scooby-Doo moment. So our boy Craig, like this is like the most random, hey, I'm the guy behind all this ever. Okay. So it just okay.
It was absolutely random.
It just super random. So okay, so we had. Let me recap a little bit for everybody, just to build this up a little bit better. So we have Craig. He distracts John, right? So we're supposed to believe John is this crazy killer. He's been doing all this killing. You know what I mean? Even though we could see that through his words and stuff, he could possibly not be the killer. So Craig distracts John. Yeah. They fight a little bit. Joanne comes up, kills his ass, right? So now we have Craig and Joanne. They run to like a little corner. They start hugging because they're the only people who survived the dorm that's dripping blood, apparently.
Right. The movie could be over at that point.
And then, so now our boy Craig's like, we can't leave here. Look what we did together. Hey, by the way, all this, it was all me. It was all me, brother. And she's like, what? It's like, yeah, I killed everybody. You know why I killed everybody? Okay. I'm sorry, man. He's like, nobody ever took me seriously and stuff. And I've always had a big crush on you. And I was like, what? Wait, hold on a second, brother.
Like, are you serious? Like, this is their motivation for killing these
people. Didn't even, like, have a scene with Joanne, like, the whole movie. You were trying to get in Patty's pants the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where the fuck were you? It's like, I loved you the whole time. I was like, you did? You had a weird way of showing it. Okay.
Yeah, like it's really weird because it's like the whole Scooby-Doo reveal where he's like, I could have got away with it except for you meddling kids.
Well, no.
Except he did get away with it, and all he had to do is not tell anybody.
He did use a Scooby-Doo moment, though. Okay?
He did, yes.
He was all like, listen, the only reason some of this happened was, you know that John guy over there? He tried to stop, all right, me from killing these people because he saw me kill Patty, all right? And I knew that he was going to tell you. So that's why I was going to go kill him. But to my surprise, you actually helped kill him too. So you're just like me. We're made to be together.
Right.
Okay. Gotcha. He's like, everybody, all these people thought I was like the jokester and all this stuff. And I wasn't. They're going to take me seriously now. All right. And like, I choose you now. And he's like, and the girl's like, hell no. So she tries to like, leave, all right? And then like she's like running away and stuff, and she runs into like this like sign that says exit closed to street, beware of rats.
Beware of rats. I love that. And then when I saw that, I was like, are there gonna be rats in this movie? But no, there were no
there were fucking rats. They weren't in the budget.
Rats.
What's going on here? So now our boy Craig, he's the killer now. He's like the crazy. He starts taunting her and stuff.
Oh yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna go get a flashlight, ha ha ha, because I'm the killer. So Joanne's walking slowly through the hallway. Fuck.
Yeah.
All right. She's like, then Craig just grabs her. He finds her and stuff. He's all like, I'm not gonna hurt you. I love you. I've always wanted to be with you. I was like, what
the fuck is going on?
Like, where's Tim? Okay, what happened to him? Like, he's acting like Tim or these people never existed. Like, what? Did you kill Tim?
Yeah.
Like, was that like a deleted scene? I have no idea. So she's like, then he describes about he wanted to see Brian. He's like, hey, like he starts showing off his trophies to her. It's like, hey, look what I did with Brian over there. Hey, by the way, see Patty? Look, I melted her ass. All right? She tried to get away and shit. All right? And then, hey, look, I killed her parents too. They're over there. Look at her. I was like, damn, okay. This is some fucking Hannibal shit over here. All right?
Yeah, yeah.
So he basically goes like, you know, I this is how I was planning it the whole time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was gonna, you know, I was blaming it on the John guy. Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, all of this is good because holding you makes it all worth it now. Okay. Because he's like hugging her and shit.
Wow.
He was like, you know, and he keeps bringing up like, yeah, John, he saw it all and stuff. He was gonna tell you, all right, but you killed him. Isn't that a funny thing? Ha ha ha. And then this is when he shows like, oh, this is Debbie and her dead family and shit. Look at them over there. And then she like, after, you know, he was showing her all that stuff. Joanne locks him in a room Okay. And then out of nowhere, our boy Buddy Lee shows up and he's humming a holiday song. Boom, there you go. You need your third.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie, man.
Christmas movie, brother.
So earlier in the movie when he went driving around, I guess this is where he was going.
Yes. Because his plan was, okay, you know what?
Up here.
I just got done fucking this one bitch, and I called her up, and she didn't say no. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show up like a creep at 4 a.m. to the dorm, and then maybe I'll get lucky.
Yeah, and he just happens to show up when Craig's murdering everybody.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Yeah,
to save the day.
Okay. So now Craig, he gets out of that room, and he traps Joanne. And Joanne's kind of like near the fires, you know, to get up to the roof. All right. And then Buddy Lee's shows up, and or maybe she was downstairs or something in like the storage room or something. So Buddy Lee shows up, and he opens up the fire escape, and he starts freaking out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you freaking out, bro? Like, do you even know what's going on over here? Like, this is kind of very
I thought this scene was weird.
Like, how would Buddy Lee know that Craig is trying to hurt, you know, Joanne? Because Joanne at this time is like she's like nervous and stuff, but she's not like you know, it's not like he's like choking her out or anything. So he starts
unless he saw
out.
the bodies, but I don't know how he would do that.
Maybe he has like X-ray vision because that shit was dark everywhere. Okay.
Right.
So he starts freaking out. And Craig grabs Joanne, and he smacks her, and he pulls her away, and asks like, "Hey, who is that guy? All right, you truly love me, you know? What's wrong with him?" You know.
No, I was gonna say, is this where he knocks her unconscious, or that happens in a minute?
Now that's about to happen. So this is when he goes on to some more of his back problems, like his like backstory. It's like, yeah.
Oh yes, yeah.
Like nobody ever takes me. Everybody thinks I'm a smart ass, and nobody ever takes me serious. Like all I wanted to do is end up. You know, all I wanted to do was like, you know, be with you, but you ended up being like everybody else. And I'm like, what? So now now randomly out of nowhere for no reason, because I have no idea why this is happening. Well, actually, okay, I can't say that. The police do show up. Mm-hmm. I thought at first it was so random, like why the hell are they showing up? But I'm guessing they're showing up at the dorm to tell the kids like that they found the guy. Maybe the guy is not the guy that they think. I have no idea. This could have done with the phone call. Maybe because they couldn't call him. So the 3 police shows up, and they said, "Hey, this is only going to take like 5 minutes." Okay, so I'm guessing the police are going to show up to the dorm to tell the kids like, "Hey, we caught this. We caught the guy. Maybe you can come in to take a look at him and see if this guy's stalking you."
But
very weird.
Maybe, but like I couldn't figure out why the cops show up, because they can't call the cops unless they were finally responding from when she called them earlier.
No, because they already did that. She called them earlier, and they went to the police station, and they gave them, you know, this John guy and the you know what he looked like and everything, and they're like, "Hey, we think we might have picked him up. I'll call you, you know, and let you know." So maybe they tried to call him, but the phone was locked. So instead of calling, they just showed up. So that's the only thing I could think of why they came here. Okay. So, and there's like 3 of them. So Craig is now telling her, you know, to shut up. Cause like, you know, Joanne, she's like freaking out at this time. You know what I mean? He's telling her, shut up. And then this is when he actually knocks her out. Like he bangs her head against like the steel pipe. Okay.
Right. Cause she has to be knocked unconscious for this ending to work.
Yes, exactly, brother. All right, because remember, Craig, he feels betrayed now because since this guy, Buddy Lee, showed up, Craig thought like, oh, wait a minute, this might be another one of your men. All right? So that's the only thing I could think of in his crazy mind.
Because 5 minutes ago, you were just like me, but now you're a harlot because you might be cheating on me with Bobby Lee.
Yes. Even though Tim, he's just out of the picture. Okay?
Yeah.
So now we have Craig. He gets down there. We have Craig and Buddy Lee. Buddy Lee finally gets down there now. And they start fighting. All right.
Yeah.
So this is when the cops come in, and they pull the gun on Buddy Lee. All right, because
he has it pulled on both of them.
Yeah, both.
So Craig's like laying on his back because Bobby's just knocked him down.
Yeah,
and then he pulls a gun and he tells him like, look, just back away from each other.
Yeah,
and then like they act like they're gonna sort this thing out, but then that doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, but also Craig is telling him like, hey man, this is the guy who's been stalking us. Like this is the guy and everything. Like he came in here and attacked me.
And then Bobby's telling him that he's the killer.
Yeah, because
they don't know who the killer is.
Well, kind of. So you got to remember though, like Craig was there at the police station, so he does have a relationship with the cops.
Oh well, true.
So they could probably be more on the Craig side because he actually went over there to complain about somebody stalking them, and they could just think, okay, this guy Buddy Lee is the guy who's been stalking this whole dorm the whole time that they were talking about. Mm-hmm. So they're basically telling, and then Buddy's like, no, this guy is him. And they tell him like, hey man, put down your weapon and back away slowly. And then of course our boy Craig taunts him. He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, you motherfucker. All right. And
which the cops can't hear.
They can't hear him. And Buddy Lee's like tries to go step towards him, and they shoot his ass down. Fucking dead.
Yeah. Well, he's also grabbing a knife so Bobby sees that he's gonna stab him.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if he turns his, because remember the cops telling him to turn around. So so Bobby's thinking at this point, like, well, if I turn my back on this guy, he's going to stab me.
Yeah.
But he could have just walked away to the other side of the room.
Yeah.
And then the cops would have had to sort out what was going on.
Yeah. And so.
But he doesn't. So they shoot him and he dies.
Yeah, shoot him and he dies. And then all the cops tells him to get an ambulance. Craig says, like, hey, man, there's a lot more people upstairs and everything. Like, this guy did a lot of damage. Because he's basically blaming all the deaths on Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the cops
like 2 ambulances then.
Yeah. So the cops, they go upstairs. Final drink, everybody. The cops go upstairs. Okay? And then Craig stays behind. And then this is when he's looking for Joanne. He grabs Joanne, takes her up on his arms, and he brings her into a different room. And we see the cops saying, hey, we need to bring some more ambulances out here. We have multiple bodies. Okay. Yeah. And then, of course, this is when Craig is like saying, like, this is all the pain that you caused me. All right. And Craig brings her to the fire extermination room. Where the furnace
it's like an incinerator.
Yes.
Yeah, where the furnace is.
And it's a weird scene because the cop, you can see Craig open up the furnace and they're going to be putting Joanne in the furnace. But then we have the cop saying, hey, where'd that guy go? I don't know. Let's go check the furnace. I guess it's a little too late, brother. So
too late for that now.
So we don't see him put the body in the furnace. But we do.
Well, no, because that's too expensive. We can't afford that.
But we do cut out, and we see the cops saying, like, yeah, it's like, man, this is pretty crazy what's going on over here and everything. Cops like saying, like, hey, man, you smell that? This is fucking weird. It's like, this is an old building. It's about to be torn down anyway. All right.
Yeah, and then the cops like, man, this stinks. Is it supposed to be smoking like that? Yeah. And he's like, they're going to tear this building down in a weekend.
Anyway. They're going to call this stupid shit down anyway. So then we end the movie. So our boy Craig.
Yeah.
Got away with some murder, brother. All right.
Yeah. So kind of a downer ending.
Yeah. I mean,
probably set up for a sequel that would never happen.
Yes. It's set up for a sequel that never happened until the Retro Blood came along, brother. All right. I got you a sequel.
Right. Maybe, but maybe like a killer, a killer named Michael is cool and a killer named Jason is cool, but a killer named Craig is just not that cool.
What's wrong with Craig? You know what I mean?
It's just not as cool as Jason or Michael.
Like, he didn't have a mask. He don't need any of that stuff.
No, he didn't have a mask.
People, boy Craig, he was just misunderstood, brother. Everybody was making, they looked at him as a jokester. You know what I mean? Because he did a bunch of jokes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And, like, apparently he, like, loved Joanne, even though he was trying to get in Patty's pants the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he never even, like, talks to Joanne through his entire movie until the end.
Well, maybe it's because, like, Joanne was trying to save her life, and he took it like, yeah, she's a killer. Maybe it's like a Dexter thing. He's like, oh yeah, you're a killer just like me, right? But you're not.
Maybe.
This movie is all right. It
was pretty good.
I probably wouldn't watch it again, but it was okay. I would say it was okay. Like this is definitely not as exciting has the don't open till Christmas, but it's okay for what it was, I guess. So I did like the twist at the end, and I did like it where he, like, it's a crazy ending. It's not right, but he basically got away with these murders. And he actually did it in a smart way. So I do appreciate that aspect of the film. But yeah, it's it's a slasher. It's there. So. But yeah, you got any more final thoughts there, Alison?
No, I mean, I think this movie was pretty good. I mean, it's not like the greatest thing, obviously, in the world, but I mean, I thought the movie was good. It was enjoyable. It was a little bit crazy in places, like why these things were happening. But I mean, I liked it. Yeah. I mean, I liked it, and like, would I watch it again? I probably would. But it's not something I'd watch a lot, I would say.
You're a big Stairmaster guy. So, you like people walking up and down stairs. So,
I am a big fan of movies where people are on the stairs a lot.
But yeah. So, check it out, everybody. If you haven't seen it, give it a good old watch. You can find it on the YouTube, or you can just listen to our review. I don't care what you do, as long as you drink a beer while you do it.
Drink a beer.
But Alison,
Southern Tier beer, because those are great.
But Alison and everybody, we are keeping this holiday train rolling on. And boy, the next couple reviews we got are going to be way different than this shit that we just watched. Because next week, everybody, we are taking a ride. We're taking a good ride. Because we're going back to another Carpenter. One, John Carpenter.
Yep.
Right? And we're doing his supposed holiday-style movie, Christine.
I wonder if there's any Christmas lights in this one.
So
we'll find out.
So I have never seen Christine ever before.
Wow. Okay.
So I've heard that, I'm not sure if it's an actual holiday movie, but it maybe it's like this where it takes place around Christmas. But I do know that this movie came out around Christmas time, and they actually had the Christine. Good enough. It was good enough. And they actually had the Christine car, and they had the actors in an actual Christmas parade. And that's enough for the Retro Blood to review it for our holiday horror month, brother. Okay? Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about some killer cars, some wildness. I can't wait to see this, though, because I've heard really good things about this movie. So, have you seen it before?
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a classic.
Okay. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. So everybody check us out next Sunday here on the Retro Blood. And of course, on that episode too, we will probably release what we're going to be doing for the Retro Blood Christmas Eve episode. That's going to be a fun one, brother. I can't wait to talk about that movie on there. That's going to be a little surprise. And we'll probably do a lights out for the Christmas day as well too. We're still deciding what we want to do with the lights out, but I think we narrowed it down to two things. So we'll figure it out for everybody, and we'll let you all know next week here on the Retro Blood. But Alison, what? Well, actually, I know what song we're gonna do by Twisted Sister. We're gonna do that fucking the Gore's Trigger